Line's good.
Never on.
Whoa.
Hard. Please.
Come on, Brent. Line's good. Got real close. The hair high, right? Try and hit 2/3.
Have they saved it for her? Yes, they have.
Ooh, welcome to Game of Stones, everybody. I am Sean Graham. Scott, alongside, as always. Hello, Scott.
Good evening, Sean. Usually I have something really funny in my mind to twigger. There you go. Have you ever pronounced R's like W's?
No, that's not something I've been known to do, I don't think.
But it's like pretty cute when it's like a little kid doing it, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, kids do that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just did it, and I'm a man.
You're a grown adult. It's true.
Yeah. What's been going on?
Not too much here. We took last week off, and I'll just say it off the top. We're taking next week off too. So there you go.
Yeah.
I am technically on vacation for, in a real sense, the next 3 hours.
Yeah, and then you're back on not vacation.
Yeah, so I do these things a couple times a year where we go overseas and we do some history, and it's a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. And we leave tomorrow, or I leave tomorrow, and actually our whole group from across the country, we all fly to Montreal. And for me, once the first person is in the air, it's kind of like, all right, let's go, right? Because I'm getting the text, I'm getting all the updates, and just given the time of the flights to Europe and the desire to, as much as humanly possible, prevent missed connections, we got people from the left coast on red eyes tonight before their red eye across the Atlantic tomorrow. So I should be getting my first update. See if I'm still awake. Usually it's about midnight Eastern time.
Wow, that's pretty. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. And then those people sit in the airport, if their flight's on time, for tomorrow, about 12 hours from touchdown to takeoff.
Wow. And they have to be in the airport because they
Can't leave. Yeah. I mean, you could leave.
You can't take them into the Air Canada lounge with you, can you?
No, for a while, Air Canada was a partner of our programming, and did provide some of the longer wait times, some entry into the lounge, and they're no longer a partner of our program. At least I don't think so.
Yeah, that's too bad. You can get a lot of walking done in the Montreal airport.
Yeah.
If you wait to cross into the international section, which I believe most people have to do, because one time I went there, I think it was quite early in COVID. It was my first trip in 2021. And I went, my flight was 10 o'clock from Ottawa, and then 6 o'clock to Brussels. And I went into the international section so early, nothing was open.
Yeah.
And I just literally walked around and got to stay far away from people, so I was able to take my mask off while I waited. But a little exercise.
Yeah, and I kind of like the international side of the Montreal airport when it's really early like that. I mean, usually there's, at least in April, not as much in August, but there's always a flight or two to some sort of sun destination in the Caribbean or Mexico.
Oh yeah.
But the European flights, of course, don't start until much later in the day, so it can be pretty chill. And because I am the de facto leader of the group, I go much earlier than I otherwise would. So
yeah, you do.
Yeah. And I stay much later on the return as well. Make sure everybody gets onto a plane.
Well, Sean, that's the reason that they trust you with the education of these people.
There you go. That's why we lift all those weights.
That's what the off season's all about.
Yeah, for those days where you need that real endurance.
That real endurance. Oh yeah.
Yes. All right. So that's what's going on with us, or at least with me. And we are here to talk about blank ends. Scott, there's been a lot of talk about blank ends in the world of curling over these past few years. There was, of course, this year during the Grand Slams, the new rule where 2 blank ends in a row would lead to a change of the hammer. We did see some of an impact on the strategy for those games. I don't think we have enough of a sample size to know exactly what the impact is. But we talked during the spring at some point about blank ends and doing some rankings and determining what are the most entertaining blank ends. Because whenever there's a quote unquote entertaining blank end, if you look on the social media, there'll be a bunch of people saying, see, blank ends can be great and can be thrilling, super exciting. So we're going to rank them for you because #summer, #clickbait.
Yeah.
That's what you do in the summer. So Scott, I have 8 types of blank ends here, and we're going to go through and discuss them and rank them. And then you can let me know if I've missed any out.
Deal.
Okay. And I've given them mildly pithy names.
I love pithiness in the names.
All right. The first type of blank is the open end. This is the stereotypical first end of a game. You see it a little more often, say at a Scotties than a Briar, but you'll see it at the Briar as well. This is the bane of Jennifer Jones's existence, but this is where teams just throw them up and down in the first end, just to get a feel for the ice, get your legs under you, perhaps bank some time. But you can see it elsewhere in the game too. You'll see, I think a lot of 7th ends can be open. 7th doesn't tend to be too exciting. So Scott, the open end, how would you summarize or express your feelings towards an open end?
Fast forward button. That's how I would express my feelings.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about that. One of the reasons why it's nice to record the games and watch them after the fact is because you can burn through these kind of ends.
Yeah.
Basically, you're just hoping for a mistake from someone. And sometimes you even get a mistake with a rollout and then it rocks right back in the house. Let's hit again. So
yeah,
pretty boring, bit of a snooze fest.
Yeah, because even if you get a mistake on the skips last and they nose and score a point, it's like, well, that's not an exciting point.
Yeah, not really.
You know?
So not great.
All right, so that is our first one. The next one, Scott, I'm going to call the early bail. And this one is specific to the 6th rock of the end. So we're playing, maybe we have a center guard, we have some come arounds, and the team with the hammer on the 6th rock of the end says, nope, not enjoying this. And there we have run back, Hulk smash, or just if there's space in the house just to get around, we're Hulk smashing, we're bailing out, we're going for the blank.
Yeah, that's, it happens. We think, okay, a little mistake here or there. Boom, we're done. Maybe a run back happens as part of this, but happens early in the end, like you say. These ends are also boring. I would say not much different than the up and down.
Yeah. Do you think, because this is one I think that gets a lot of attention and people talk about these shots, these 6 shots at the end of being exciting and, like look at the skill, and there is skill involved. No question. You have to hit the rock absolutely perfectly. But at the same time, the way the stones are prepared and the striking bands make it so that sometimes it feels like if you look at the stone hard enough, it will fly into the parking lot.
Yeah, you could, like, it seems like sometimes with the running back or with the run back, you can clip like an 1/8 of a stone and it's flying out no matter what. And it's got a lot to do with the speed at which the rocks are coming, but you're right. They just that doesn't happen at the club.
Right.
Where that rock's sticking around, whether it's the ice, the stone, a combination of everything. It's much, much harder to do at a regular club game than at the elite level. So you see it more at the elite, and I think that's why you don't see club curlers bail as early, because it's harder
It's
to
harder.
do it.
Yeah. All right. So would we put in terms of excitement this above or below the open end?
I'd say it has to be a little above the open end, but not by much.
Sure. All right. So we're putting that above. All right. Now the early bail, Scott, I'm putting specifically on the sixth stone of the end. So the team with the hammer is bailing. The next one I'm calling the uh-oh bail.
Mhm.
And that's when it's the team without the hammer, either on the second's second or the third's first, discover or realize this is looking like a potentially big end. Let's get out of this.
Yeah.
And again, it's a Hulk smash. So the early bail is specific to team with hammer. This uh-oh bail, I'm saying, is the team without the hammer that's trying to prevent a big score because things have gotten out of hand early, whether it's maybe a miss by the lead or the seconds first, or the other team has just made 3 or 4 shots in a row and things are starting to look dicey. So the uh-oh bail.
Yeah, and it could be a situation where the angles aren't looking very good of the stones in the house. You've got a couple of guards up front, or even just one center guard, and then the other team has put the angles of the frozen stones in the house behind that guard at just such a good on such a good position that, oh boy, we really need to get rid of this or change the angles up or anyway figure something out, which necessitates a run back. The run back could be successful. It could not. It could just peel. But what it does is makes it such that the team without the hammer then has the opportunity to remove multiple stones on the next shot. And so that's a bit of a cascading effect after that. So this one I'd say is a little more interesting because it's likely due to a pileup of angles at the top of the house, which is inherently more interesting than just watching nose hits up and down the ice.
Right. And I do think this one, it takes a couple shots to get out of it. I think the early bail, you can usually do one big run back, a lot of weight. If the angles are such, like you can get rid of 4 rocks in a run back, depending on what the angles are. With this type of bail, if the stones that the team with the hammer has put in really good spots, you're looking at probably 2 shots to get out of it and probably 2 good shots to get out of it. So it's not as boring as the open end, certainly, but it's a type of end as well that by the time you get to the third last, and certainly the skips rocks, then we're into the up and down openness. So the first part of the end can be interesting, and then it kind of peters out.
Yeah, by the third's first rock, they throw something that amounts to eliminating the rest of the stones.
Yeah.
And then it's just a case of, okay, we're hitting. Yeah.
All right. So are we putting that above the early bail or below?
I think we have to, given the amount of skill that it takes and the quality of the shots that would lead to such a situation.
Yeah. All right. The next type of blank end is what I'm calling the triple. This is the team with the hammer in a difficult spot, and it's a triple to get out of trouble. And where this differentiates from the early bail is 1, it's the next shot, but 2, it's a triple or potentially a quad in the service of maybe still trying to score. Mm-hmm. It's okay if we make this shot, we roll to this spot, or maybe we'll be behind cover. It's not kind of this capitulation of, all right, we're trying to blank at this point. It's still an offensive shot that 80% of the time is going to lead to something open and we'll get to the blank end. But it's a defensive shot that, if made perfectly, could still lead to offense, if that makes any sense. So it's trying to remove those other stones, and if you can make a roll, you can make a roll to a freeze or whatever it is behind cover, then we're still looking to score. So it's not a total, we're going for the blank, but it's if we blank, when somebody comes down, when Ben Heber comes down, he goes, the blank's still there. The blank's still in play.
Yeah.
So it's that type of a blank.
Yeah. This could even still happen on the third's rocks, right? It's not necessarily that 8th rock of the end, but it could happen anywhere, that 8th, 10th, 12th rock of the end. And ideally, the team with the hammer would have at least 2 rocks left in the house after this shot.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not a triple to leave just one in the house and then it's up and down after that. It might end up like that, but the intent is to have at least 2 in the house, maybe a guard and one in the house to be able to go around if the other team rolls out, that kind of thing. So there's still a chance. They're still playing offense. But what happens in the end is a blank.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where Russ says something like, well, so the goal is to make the triple, but if you hit it perfectly, you might roll behind that corner and then you're looking at a deuce here.
Yeah. So this is like one where both teams are putting pressure on each other.
Yeah.
And it takes good shots to result in a blank, but the blank is evident before the last rocks of the end.
Yes. Yeah, we're still up and down by the skips last couple.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So the triple, where are you putting that?
Well, I think a triple's always like fun.
Sure.
And I guess it doesn't
better than the uh-oh.
Yeah, I think it's more exciting than the uh-oh. It could not be, but having the opportunity to have rocks in play beforehand and still the opportunity for offense given misses by the other team, I think that makes it more exciting.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Like the uh-oh is purely for the purpose of let's get out of this end. This, because there's a glimmer of this still might be interesting, and it could be, not forget an end changing shot. It could be a game changing shot if it works out absolutely perfect. You can get a multi out of it. I think the potential is worth it.
I think so.
Yeah. All right. So next up, Scott, I have what I'm calling the okay. And that's where they're looking at the angles. The third comes down. They have a discussion. Things are looking interesting. And then somebody discovers, well, if we just throw a peel and hit this, things will go. And let's kind of see what happens. Right. So like this one where at some point during the discussion, somebody will say, not the end of the world.
Yes.
That phrase will be used during the discussion.
Okay, that's good criteria to have for this. I think, it makes a lot of sense. Is this at what point in the end is this happening?
I'm thinking it's the third, probably one of the third's second shot.
One of the third's second shots.
Yeah, and so the whole team comes down to look at what's going on. Like maybe there's still a chance to do something. Oh, but maybe this, and then, well, if we try this, we throw hard, whether it's like an angle run or a double or even a triple.
Yeah,
I was like, well, if that stuff's at the back, well, that's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. But then in the end, when the shot is made, it results in a situation where there's nothing left,
or there's not much left. Yeah, like there probably is still going to be a double left, but a pretty simple double left.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and the sort of thing where whoever throws it or the skip, as the third comes down, one of the two of them will say, "Oh, it's better than it was."
Better than it was. Yeah.
Better than it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I've said that a lot.
Yeah.
Better than it was. Yeah. Okay. I like this one. I don't think this one is as exciting as the
Okay.
Because I think this is the one where like the best outcome is not what's happening, right? The best outcome is, we would make something perfect or like play a draw around it.
Right.
But what they're doing is saying like, we want to raise the floor on this end.
Yes.
Rather than
we're not raising the ceiling. Yeah. We're raising the floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think that is below then the uh-oh. So that would put it in the middle. We've talked about 5. This would be in the middle of the 5.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Okay. So we got it right in the middle. Smack dab in the middle. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Scott, next up, I have the bad angles. And this is where the skip goes to throw. Now, this is somewhat dependent on the end being not like open, but let's say 5 or 6 rocks are in play.
Okay.
And the angles aren't great for whichever skip is throwing. And so they just blow it up. And this is one where you're looking at probably a triple again, but they're doing it because, well, it's for the next shot, when they're having this discussion of like, well, if I do this, then at least on my next one, I'll have this draw, or on the next one, I'll have this, right?
Yeah.
It's setting up whatever their second shot is going to be to get out of situations where the angles don't look great, but we got to make it so that they're better so that I have a shot on the next one. So I'm calling this one the bad angles.
Yeah, I feel like this is one that Matt Dunstone often gets into, where usually BJ has cleaned everything up at the third position.
Well, now Colton.
Or Colton.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of shots where Matt will be like, okay, I'll just like go and hammer it.
Yeah.
And he does it. And then like on his next shot, he's blanking with a double, like a crosshouse double to blank. And you're like, whoa, where did that come from?
Yeah.
This is a kind that I think is like really, really more interesting because it takes a lot of high level shots at the beginning of the end to set up such a situation. A lot of strategy too, to place the rocks where you want them to, mostly from the team that's not got hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the team with hammer says, okay, the angles right now are such that I think I can do something. And it takes a really high level shot to accomplish what results in a blank. So this one I'd say is pretty exciting.
Yeah, I agree. And it's one of the ones too where you're like, okay, that's an acceptable outcome. And it's also one that is pretty exclusive to the stuff on TV, to the pros.
Yeah.
Right. I remember one time, I'm pretty sure it was during the bubble, and it was Brendan Botcher. He had the hammer. It was his first one. There were at least 6 rocks in play. And he's talking to Darren Mold and he goes, blank's in play here. And I'm like, these people are playing a different sport.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? There's 6 in the house, 3 to come. And you're talking about a blank end, my man? Like, all right.
And it happened, right?
I can't remember. I just remember being dumbfounded at that. So, Scott, you think this is the most exciting that we've talked about so far?
I think so far, yeah. The others have happened earlier in the ends. Having it happen so late in the end and requiring such skill on both sides of this demarcation point. Yeah, I think this one is the most exciting. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think out of the ones we've talked about, because it prolongs the play.
Yeah.
We're now into skip stones.
Yeah, exactly. The whole end has been interesting, and it leads up to something that results in a blank.
Yeah. All right. And then I have this other one, and this one is not, the other ones have been kind of specific to points in time,
right,
in an end. This one is not.
Okay.
I'm calling this one the out of nowhere, where a shot at some point in the end goes different from what they expected, and that sets up a blank. So it could be something of they throw a double and it's a triple, or they throw a freeze and they think it's pretty good, but oh no, there's an in off to like get them both out. Like these things that you don't think are there, or that as they're thinking them through, like, oh, that's a great shot, and then all of a sudden, oh no, this has happened. So I'm calling this the out of nowhere, where something just, or sometimes something weird can happen, like if there's a pick or a stone after it hits something, catches something, does the big spin back, and that sets up the double. Like something unexpected, unanticipated happens at some point in the end, and that leads us to a blank.
Yeah, so this can happen and create different levels of excitement for blanks, right? Like it could be the whole end was really, really exciting, and then the skip's rock picked on his draw, and then the guy with hammer just had to throw it through, right? Something like that. Like, oh, this blank really came out of nowhere.
Right.
Or it can happen early in the end, in which case the end
It's boring.
would be more boring, akin to some of the first ones we spoke about. So this one, Sean, I think because of that, we have to drop it straight into the middle of our types of blank ends, because it could go either way. It could be super exciting, or it could be fast forward.
All right, so this will go in between then the and the okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I've got two more kinds of blank ends.
Okay, I have one left.
Oh, you do. I thought that was 7.
It was 7, but we talked before, and I've just added another one.
Okay, maybe it's one of the ones I thought of
to the list. The bad strategy blank.
Oh,
or the questionable strategy blank. This is an intentional blank end by the team with the hammer in a situation where maybe they should try to score points.
Hey, I like this one.
Yeah. So this one we talked about after the Brier final, where Matt Dunstone in the second half of the game, after we felt very clearly outplaying Team Jacobs in the first half, got a little defensive, made the shots for both teams a little easier, maybe let those guys get into a rhythm a little bit rather than continue to put pressure on them. And we talked, that was pretty much the whole recap of the prior, was that the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Do you just keep the foot on the gas and just keep going and going and going? And so this is, it falls into stylistically one of the first couple that we talked about, but it has the added element of, at the very least, even it's an open end, it's not the first end and you're just trying to figure out what to talk about. In this case, at least on the broadcast, social media, whatever, whoever you're talking, if you're watching the game with folks who you're talking with, you can say, was that a good idea? Is this smart? So at least you have that element of the discussion point as they're playing it out.
Yeah. And I think like we talked about Matt Dunstone, and we've talked about Rachel Homan's team doing this too. Yeah. And really not minding blank ends. But like, when your skill level is so high, do what Jennifer Jones does, right? Play curling. Don't mess around with, like we're going to shorten the game. That's what bad teams do against better teams. Shorten the game to minimize the amount of chances you have for the other team to score points. But you shift that mindset into, hey, we want the other team to be chasing us.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that Dunstone got into that a little bit in the Brier final. The first 4 ends were blanked, and they weren't all like the type 1 blank that we were talking about today. A lot of them were the or the or even the exciting kind, where Dunstone had to make 2 amazing shots at the end. And he was able to do it. The problem is he wasn't making the shots for his opponents that difficult.
Yeah.
And as a result, they were getting, even better throughout the game. So yeah, these kind of blank ends are confounding at times when you're thinking like, you guys are better. Just go
just be better.
Be better. Yeah. And like, okay, you get one. That's 1 point.
Sure.
When I was trying to explain curling to my friend Tim when we first met over 20 years ago, he's like, why don't you just score points? Like, why do you want to blank ends? I said, well, because you want the strategic opportunity to score 2 on the next one. He goes, yeah, but you might not score 2 on the next one.
Sure.
So why not you take your 1 when you have the chance? And, that's
it's not entirely invalid all the time.
Exactly. It's not entirely invalid. And it's the kind of thing where in the 9th end, I'd rather score 1 and be up 1 without than be down 1 with. Me personally. Sure. I know the players look at all the numbers, but statistically it's still better to be up 1. I think it's like 56% of the time you win. So obviously not true for every team. That's an aggregated number, but yeah, these sort of strategic blank ends, I don't think I can put them in a interesting rating level. It's definitely the most interesting for us to talk about.
Yeah. So number 1 with a bullet for the content. We do
yes, for the content train. Those are the most interesting. Like we're never talking about PEI and New Brunswick blanking the first end of the game 3 of the Scotties, right? Like we're never doing that. But these kind of strategic decisions, and they are all decisions to blank the end or not, are interesting to talk about, and I think inform the next generation of curling strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree too. Like the idea of scoring points, like scoring points can never really be that bad, right? It's like when there's a playoff series and you're like, the team that wins game 3 wins the series 72% of the time. Yeah, because they won the game.
Yeah,
more the team that scores is going to win because they're scoring the point. That's how you win the game. Like, okay, maybe you don't want to be forced to win when you're down 3 in the second end. Okay, I get that, but like there are scenarios where scoring points is good. Hot take: scoring points can be helpful.
Let's go in our bold predictions, Sean.
Yeah. All right, Scott. Those are the ones that I had written down here. What are the 2 that you have?
So I had 2 different ones. The first one I'm going to call the Skips blank.
Okay.
And it's a case where on the last stone of the end, the skip has to make a crazy difficult shot to make the blank.
Okay.
Most often this happens where the opposing team puts a rock behind a single guard somewhere, and the skip either has to chase it with soft weight or throw a run back. The way that the end developed to this point is a bit immaterial to the end result. But I think for me, this is like one of those, okay, just like take your hat off to the skip for calling it and making it. Especially when it's one of these soft weight, coming around to center guard, you have to roll the entire width of the house and knock the other stone out. The guys on TV make it look pretty easy. It's not easy. So those kind of blanks, what do you think of those?
Yeah, I agree. And what's interesting about those ones is they're usually, or the lead up to those are usually a lot of the same of chasing around guards, throwing run backs, that kind of thing. So that's kind of what that end is the team with the hammer kind of chasing the blank a little bit the whole time, but having to make difficult shots the whole end. So it kind of, it's the perfect end point of what that end has been usually.
Yeah. So it's one of those like, okay, we went to school on this line, this weight. We've been making these light tap backs. The other team's been hitting and rolling. They make a perfect roll behind a guard. You're chasing them. All sorts of ways to get there, but it usually involves a lot more skill than an up and down blank end.
Yeah, I agree. So where would you put that?
I think like the third most exciting.
Okay, so that would put it after. Right now we have the bad angles, which is skips, and then we have the triple in second place.
Yeah, and then what's next?
After that, we have the. Uh-oh.
I think it's lower than that because it is a pretty predictable end. Right. Even if the skill level is quite high, it is one that I do tend to like go 30 seconds forward.
Okay, so we're putting that in third or fourth place right now.
Yeah.
All right. What's your other one?
Okay, Sean, this is the one that's going to win. This is the most exciting one.
Oh.
And it's when a measure results in a tie.
Oh.
And the end is blanked. And there's all sorts of rocks in play.
Yeah.
And then right at the end, there's like 2 biting the button.
Yeah.
And they're tied, and that's it. Nobody gets points.
100%. That is the most exciting. If 16 rocks in play, blank end.
Blank end.
Yeah, you're absolutely
possible.
Right. Yeah, it is possible. There's if you go into YouTube and just put in, I think, Reed Carruthers blank end.
Yeah.
There's one, it's a Grand Slam, and it's if you put in Reed Carruthers, because he's the one who's measuring. I honestly can't remember who he's playing, but he's measuring, and they're both in the 4 foot if not touching the button, and they cannot tell. who is closer. Have you ever had this happen to you in a game, Scott?
Have I? I think once.
Yeah.
I think once. And it was very annoying.
Yeah, I would not stand for it.
No, because I was like,
someone's getting a point.
But I think it was in Victoria when I curled there that we had that once.
Okay.
And there wasn't a ton of rocks in play, but there was like 5 or 6 in the house. And it was just kind of like, really?
All that for nothing?
All that for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing it at our level, it's like probably like an 18-minute end. For a blank,
and then you've got to do the like 3 times around,
which takes forever.
Satisfied.
Yeah. Absolutely brutal. What's the rule, Scott, if it's clear that who's shot, but then second shot is not clear? Is it just 1 point then?
It's 1 point. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you have to have a clear on who is second shot. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. The measure blank is the most exciting. That goes into first place.
Oh. I found one on YouTube where Jeff Stoughton declares a blank end via a tied measurement in mixed doubles where there was 2 rocks both touching the pin.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, you can't measure that point.
No, you couldn't get the measure in there, and interesting.
Well, now we got the laser. I think there's a way to do it with the laser from the outside somehow.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. Our top 10 list of blanks. So going in order of excitement, the most exciting is the measure blank. That is followed by the bad angles blank. That skips, throwing some hard shots to get out of some difficult situations. Then the triple blank, which is on the second's last stone. Follow that up with the skips blank, where you have the team with the hammer chasing the whole end, and the skip has to make a good shot for the blank. Follow that up with the where a team has to bail. And then we have the out of nowhere, where some sort of weird mistake happens or something odd happens. They have the blank, and then the okay, where it's not the end of the world, and the blank's in play. And we go with that on the third's rocks. Then the early bail, which is the 6th shot of the end, and the team with the hammer bails. And then in last place is the open end. And then on a category all to itself is the questionable strategic blank.
Yes. Yeah. The best for podcast fodder is definitely the questionable strategic blank. But I'll say anytime you can get a measure that's a blank, that's going to be on the highlights on Sports Center.
Absolutely, it will. Yeah, that'll get some traction. So there you go. The 10 blank ends that we could come up with and our rankings of them. If you want to let us know if we missed any types of blanks or blanks that maybe you enjoy that
you've been a part of
that are unique, certainly do let us know. You can reach out Game of Stones podcast at gmail.com, on the socials at Game of Stones pod. Of course, as always, please do subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Like, rate, comment, all that kind of stuff helps grow the show. Lets other people know what we got going on here on the show. Of course, GameOfStonesPod.com. All of our past episodes are there, plus a link to the merch. Scott, this is the first day as we record here on July the 31st. August is nigh.
Yes, it is.
The first day I've really noticed here the earlier setting of the sun. Came down here about 8:30 or so, and I don't know if the sun had set, but it was certainly well lower in the sky than it was obviously a month ago. And the first time I'm kind of remarking on the slightly earlier sunset here in the nation's capital.
Interesting, Sean. Interesting. Yeah, it was. I looked at the sunset time today. I don't know why. It was 8:32, the sunset, and that's still pretty late. Like,
sure,
all things considered. And tonight was a beautiful night, so maybe the reason that you noticed it is because you were paying more attention to the outside. and perhaps were outside.
Indeed, I was.
Yeah. And so because it's so beauty out, a lot of times when it's really hot, I don't notice because I'm watching the baseball game and not looking at the sky.
Yeah. And when it is really hot like that too, tend to keep the drapes and stuff closed to try and prevent that 40-degree heat, or at least the sun belting down on the windows,
I think so, yeah.
So, yeah. So, the fall is coming along. There still is full month of summer before Labor Day, when this curling season really starts to kick off in earnest there. As I said, off the top of the show, we are going to be off next week unless Scott feels super duper inspired to do a solo show or get a guest on.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
And if that happens, there'll be a show in the feed next week. If not, she'll be back with you in a couple of weeks. So if you are in Canada and in a province that has a long weekend coming up, enjoy your long weekend. For everybody else, have a wonderful first weekend of August and a second weekend of August, because I won't talk to you until after the second weekend of August. Hope you're having a wonderful summer. We'll be back with you real soon to talk more curling. And as always, keep those brooms on the ice and don't dump that intern.
Make the final.